One love to the humble, one love to the humble, one love to the humble. I appreciate each and every one of you being here to watch this video. And what I'm going to ask of you, is to please subscribe to the channel. Please subscribe. I'm asking you to please subscribe. It ain't nothing but boom, hit the button. Just subscribe to the channel. Like the video. Subscribe to the channel. Hit like if you like the video. I know everybody's not going to like the video, but that's okay. If you do like the video, please hit like. And if you don't like the video, at least subscribe. There might be some other videos that you may watch that you may like. That's all I ask of you. Neither one of those take a lot to do. They're not taking no time out your day. They're not taking no money out your pocket. If you could do that, I really appreciate it. You don't even have to share the video. But if you subscribe to the channel and you can hit like for me, that would be really appreciated. It's a lot of people watching, and I want all of y'all to subscribe. I know you're on the fence. You don't really know. Sometimes you see something you like. Sometimes you see something you don't like. And then that may make you make a decision on what you want to do. And sometimes people subscribe and then they unsubscribe. You know, they subscribe because they saw this video, and then they saw that video and they said, nah, I already like this guy. I'm unsubscribing. I know, I understand. That happens too. But if you could give me a chance and just hit subscribe and hit like, I really appreciate it. What I want to talk to you about today is about the presidency, Barack Obama, Black Americans under Barack Obama's presidency is what I want to cover. And if you really think about it, Barack was born, I don't want to get to where he was born at, but he was raised in Honolulu, Hawaii. And if you know anything about Honolulu, Hawaii, it's really not predominantly black, right? You got military over there, so you have black people that's in the military, but the community itself is not typically black. So you really wouldn't understand about what it is to be black being in Hawaii. That's number one. But, we're supposed to accept the fact that he's black. We're supposed to accept that he's the first African-American president. Those are the things we're supposed to accept. And a lot of us do. And even at that time, a lot of us did, including myself. I didn't know anything about him. I was not into politics. I didn't care about politics. I really still don't care about politics because it doesn't affect my life whatsoever. When Trump was in office, when Biden is still in office, I forgot who the presidents were, to be honest with you. With both of those presidencies, I forgot that they was even in office. I didn't even remember. I don't watch a lot of TV. I'm really not into a lot of that stuff. So I don't get caught up in the hype. It really doesn't affect me whatsoever. I'm out here doing what I got to do every single day, and that's what has been helping me. I don't rely on the government. When I say I don't rely on the government, meaning I'm not searching for anything with the government. Now, being a business owner that I am, yeah, there's some things that the government does that I can benefit from, but I wouldn't know it until I am in the tax, sitting down with my accountant, and they telling me what it is that the government is doing for business owners and stuff like that. So I understand that part, but I'm not out here just voting because of that. Maybe I should be, but I'm not. But what I want to talk about right now is the presidency under Black Americans under Barack Obama's presidency. And the first thing I want to cover is unemployment. So, according to the Department of Labor, when President Barack Obama took office in January 2008, the black unemployment rate was 12.7%. The best black unemployment number during the Obama administration so far was June 2015 at 9.5%. Now that was his best for black people at that time. In June 2015 was 9.5%. The best unemployment rate during George Bush's presidency was 7.7% in August 2007. So already, if you look at the comparisons, Obama's best and Bush's best is very different. Obama's best was 9.5%. President George Bush's best was 7.7%. So President Barack Obama's best was 9.5. President George Bush's best was 7.7. The worst number under Bush was 12.1% in December 2008. The worst black unemployment under President Obama was 16.8% in March 2011. So now Bush's worst was 12.1. Obama's worst was 16.8. Still higher. Bush was still lower. Right? And President Obama's 16.8 in March 2011 was a 28-year high according to the Department of Labor. This ain't me. So according to the Department of Labor, under Barack Obama's presidency, black employment in March 2011 is a 28-year high according to the Department of Labor, meaning of 28 years, from 28 years up until that point, 16.8 was the highest black unemployment rate under any president for up in that 28-year period. So from March 2011 backwards, 28 years back, that has been the highest it ever has been in that many years. Think about that. That's a crazy, crazy number. But the landscape is a bit more complicated than those numbers, In 2011, evidence of a so-called black, well, you got quotes, right? Quotes. Black manation. It's spelled M-A-N-E-S-S-I-O-N. Manation. Now, I don't even know what that means. I done looked that up. I done tried to find some definitions. I couldn't find it. If you can find a definition for it, put it in the comments, please, because I don't know what that definition means. I never even heard that word, but it's in 2011, evidence of a so-called black man-nation emerged. In September 2014, reports on the black female unemployment rate showed at 10.6%, the same as it was a year before. Many assert that higher discrimination and the fact that many have left the job market altogether are factors for high black unemployment overall. Now I'm going to tell you my take on it. Now this says in September 2014, reports of the black female unemployment rate showed 10.6%, right? It don't say what the black male unemployment rate was in that same year. But if in 2011 it was 16.8 for males, I'm sure he didn't get it down that low in 2014. But the unemployment rate was lower for women than it was for men. Now, how is that possible? Well, I know, because see, that presidency was focused on some different things than any other presidency. They don't say it right here, but if I had to give my opinion, I think I kind of know why that is. Because there's been a push to kind of like put the black women above black men, in that instead of bringing us up together, there's a push to put them ahead, which that push has been going on for a while, which is what you see now in 2024. That's what you see going on in 2024. That was 2014. So 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, That's 10 years. There's been a push to put black women in certain positions and give them, open up certain avenues and certain jobs and certain things to position them over black men. That's been the push. Ain't nobody gonna convince me different. I can't put my finger on it, I can't say it, but if you look around, that's what's been happening, which is the reason why you see things the way you see them right now. Because see, black men and black women, we live on the same planet. We moving around in the same communities, but we live in a different world. Because see, the things that is promoted to black women, black men don't see it. We don't see it because it's not for us to see. They can put it on TV, we don't pay no attention to it. They can put it right in our face, we don't pay no attention to it, and vice versa. They don't see the things that is promoted to us. They wouldn't see it, they wouldn't notice it because it's not for them. So that's why you don't notice certain things going on, because it ain't for you to notice. It can be right in your face and you won't notice it. And then all of a sudden one day you wake up and wonder, how did we get here? Well, we got here because they was doing things for them that you couldn't see it. I'm not knocking them. I'm not saying it's not necessary, but I'm saying that's what happened. And the overcorrection for a time period of when women were supposed to have been oppressed, as they say, and held back and wasn't allowed to do X, Y, and Z. Which that been like over 70, 80 years ago. But from my recollection, black men and women were always on the same level when it comes to being held back. It wasn't like one was given a privilege that the other one didn't have. It wasn't like that. We was all, one thing about us is black men and women, we were all on the same level. But then they created this situation where they started elevating them because of the feminist movement, they started elevating them. And it created a problem for us when we was never holding them back. We never oppressed black women. Black men never been in no position to oppress no woman. But that's what they say. So let's get down to poverty. The poverty rate for African Americans have become worse over the past few years. It was 25% when President Bush left the office. It rose to 28% in 2013. The most recent stat available. One out of three black children, 38% of all African American children, lived in poverty in 2013, as reported by PEW on July 14th. Overall, there are more people living in poverty in the U.S. than at any other time in history, at 45 million people. So PEW is a research center. PEW Research Center is a nonpartisan, non-advocacy think tank that informs the public about the issues, attitudes, and trends shaping the world. That's what they do. So when Bush was in office, it was at 25% for African Americans in poverty. In 2013, it rose to 28%. Why did it rise to 28%? I can think of a few reasons why it would rise to 28%. Because some of the policies that was written or changed by when Barack took office, it's going to create poverty when it comes to jobs, education, things like that. I'm going to get into that next. Then you have education. So when it comes to education, there has been major progress under President Obama in education with regard to high school dropout rates. According to the Department of Education, high school dropout rates are at a historic low, with the greatest progress seen among African Americans and Hispanics. Overall, the national high school graduation rate hit an all-time high in 2013 of 81.4%. Between 2010 and 11 and 2012 and 13, graduation rates for Hispanic students increased by over 4 percentage points from 71% to 75.2%. And black students increased by nearly 4 percentage points from 67% to 70.7%. U.S. Department of Education, Institute of Education Sciences, National Center for Education Statistics. Now, I've read this right here. It said it improved. But I don't know about that, because I read something else that was contradicting to that. But I'm going to have to go with that for now, because that's what it said. If I got to take all this other information, then I got to take this as well. But I did read something that was contradictory. And I don't want to sound like a hypocrite. And I don't want to sound like I'm being biased or against. I'm going to just let it be what it is. I said I gave you something before that saying that I could prove it differently, but I can't. And I'm not going to sit here and act like that. I'm not going to be like that. I'm going to report it the way it is. Even though I don't see how this could be true when I know that most black Americans in school don't read at the grade level that they're in. I know that there have been a lot of changes to the school system. I know the food has been, when Barack got in, they changed how the food the students were getting was changed. The quality was changed. The type of food was changed, all based upon trying to be more healthy. But I don't believe that's what they was really trying to do, but that's what they say. But I'm going to leave that where it is and just go with that right there. I'm going to just stop. So let's get into healthcare. President Obama's victories in Congress for comprehensive healthcare coverage, as well as his recent win in Supreme Court, means that many African Americans will benefit. By March 2015, over 16 million Americans had enrolled in Obamacare. Because of Obamacare, the rates of uninsured Americans have fallen to 11.9% after being 16% when President Bush left office. So what they're trying to say is President Bush had that 16%, but they have fallen to, the uninsured has fallen to 11.9% since Obamacare was created. But see, the thing about Obamacare is it don't have a lot of, most networks don't cover Obamacare. Now you can get Obamacare, but it's not covered in a lot of networks, right? And then if you work for a company, that company is, you have loss of sponsored company health care because of Obamacare, right? Because see, if you got a company that's supplying you this kind of health care plan, and then the company you work for supply you this type of health care, but then they come up with Obamacare and it seems to be cheaper, and people say, oh, I'm going to join Obamacare. So the company healthcare plan is you're gonna lose it. The company gonna get rid of it. And it might be a little bit more expensive, but it's probably a better healthcare plan than what the Obamacare plan might be. But everybody gotta do what they gotta do to fit them. And the thing about it is the cost for Obamacare has not decreased for everyone. It has not decreased for everyone. So there are some issues with Obamacare, and I know a lot of people were talking about that at that time. If you got 16 million Americans enrolled in Obamacare, and then the rates of the uninsured Americans have fallen to 11.9%. So this ain't really giving me a lot of information to go off of, but he said it was 16% when Bush was left office. The uninsured were 16%. And then the rates of the uninsured have fallen to 11.9%. I mean, that's not a big number, but it is a lot. But I don't know if African Americans really benefited from Obamacare, because if it ain't that many networks, and then the taxes penalties that's on it, it don't sound like a good deal to me. Now, I know I'm not getting into a lot of detail, but I don't see how Obamacare is better than any of the other health cares that's out there. It may be cheaper, and you can get insurance, meaning people can sign up for it, but once you start using it, you realize that it's probably not as good as you would have once thought. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes cheaper healthcare don't mean it come with better benefits. It don't mean it come with all of the same benefits as a healthcare that might cost this much. So if you're paying for Obamacare with less networks and less benefits, and then they don't decrease it, so if you get Obamacare, you pay the same amount for Obamacare as you will be paying for this other health insurance, but you're getting less with Obamacare, then how's the benefit? It ain't no benefit. Over 3 million poor Americans, including hundreds of thousands of African Americans in the South, will be covered if not for Republican governors blocking the Medicaid expansion under Affordable Care Act. In 2014, many healthcare advocates worked to get around the attempts to block coverage. See, when you read that off the top, it sounds real bad. But a lot of times when we hear, oh, they block this. See, a poor person will automatically think that that's wrong and they're doing it wrong. But if you really look at the grand scheme of things, it probably was the best benefit that they blocked it. Because they ain't gonna do nothing but put you in a worse situation than you was in the first place. But sometimes it's hard to tell people these things because they just don't understand how things work. And it's no fault against them, it's just that they don't understand. And sometimes you gotta save people from themselves. And even if you try to do it, they still don't get it. Just like them Obama phones. Obama phones, they're giving people Obama phones, which is the cheap garbage phones. For whatever reason they gave it to them, I don't know if it was for votes. I don't know if he gave them phones out for votes or for tracking people, but it was supposed to be for poor people who couldn't afford phones. I knew this dude used to work for me. Well, I still know him, but he used to work for me. And he had an Obama phone, and that phone stayed messing up constantly. But it didn't help his life. He didn't try to improve. Something simple as a phone can keep a person from bettering their life. But if you block these things, it makes people work harder to go get some work more quality. It's supposed to. But if you allow these cheap things to come into play, it can disrupt everything else. Because when people become reliant on something that they don't have to work for, it creates a problem. And a lot of times people don't get that. But it does create a problem for the whole society when you got one part of society that wants handouts. Somebody got to pay for those handouts. They're not free. They're only free to the person who's receiving it. But everybody else got to account for that. Ain't nothing free out here. So if somebody's getting something free, then they got to raise something else up somewhere else to get the money to pay for that. That's how this works. So all these things that Democrats love to give out for free, it ain't free. It's only free to the person who's receiving it. For everybody else, it costs. But that's why a lot of times Republicans get in the way of a lot of programs because it makes people lazy. It makes people not want to work. That's why people say black people are lazy. We know black people are not necessarily lazy, but it makes you look lazy. They like, well, you don't want to work for nothing. You want handouts. So they call you lazy. And then black people don't like it, but it's the truth. That's what you look like. Whether you're a hard worker or not. If you're a hard worker, but you say, you know what, I'll take something free so I don't have to work hard, then people are going to call you lazy because everybody else working hard to pay for those people that don't want to do their part. That's where this comes from. So justice. President Obama signed the first Sentencing Act in 2010, which narrowed the penalty between crack and powder cocaine from 1 to 100 to 1 and 18. Last year, President Obama established a task force on policing, and this year he rolled back the use of certain military equipment by local police, a Black Lives Matter related demand. So Black Lives Matter made a lot of demands to Barack, and all those demands were supposed to be good and thinking it was helping the black community. But this ratio of 100 to 1 and 18 to 1, or 1 to 100, or 1 to 18 was supposed to be a ratio. Like, meaning, if I understand this correctly, it was like 1 gram of crack. I don't know if I can even say that on this channel. I hope they don't slow my video down because of it, but for 1 gram of crack versus 100 grams of cocaine. Like they were saying, they're trying to change because see, what it was doing was, people would face a longer sentence for offenses involving crack cocaine and then offenses. I mean, it was like they was giving longer sentences for crack cocaine versus powder cocaine. You get what I'm saying? So they were saying like the 1 gram of crack cocaine ratio with the 100 grams of powder cocaine. And they were trying to change that law. He changed the law to bring it down so that the sentencing won't be so bad. That's what that was. That's what that was about. So you know, because you could get, they were saying like a person get way more time for 1 gram of crack versus 100 grams of powder. You know, crack was like considered supposed to be like worse, and they were saying that they gonna give more time out. So they reduced it down to 1 gram for 18 grams of for 1 gram. It's still 1 gram of crack, but they reduced the powder cocaine side down to lower amount. I don't know, you know, they say that works, but it seems like to me, I don't know how that's going, why that benefits people, but it does. We shouldn't even be messing with it anyway. And I believe that if you're going to mess around with it, then you should get whatever comes to you for it. But we start changing laws and moving it, changing things like that. It's not going to stop people from doing it. It's going to just give people more leeway to do what they want to do because they know the law. Okay, they changed the law. So they're going to figure out a way to still do what they got to do. And I'm not knocking nobody for their hustle. I'm just saying, if you're doing illegal things, you shouldn't get a break when it comes to something illegal. So, President Obama established a task force on policing, and that year he rolled back the use of certain military equipment by local police. Oh, I already said that. Basically, what it was is, you know, like you know how they come in like with armored vehicles, coming in like special forces with all the gear on, the whole 9 yards. You know what I'm saying? That's what they was talking about. So basically, that 1 to 100, 118 powder cocaine versus crack, it's supposed to reduce the disparity between the amount of crack cocaine and powder cocaine needed to trigger certain federal criminal penalties. So like they were trying to lower it down so that so you wouldn't get a federal charge, you know, versus you wouldn't get a federal charge. That was the whole point of it. During the Barack Obama presidency, the Department of Justice has investigated several police departments, including Ferguson, Cleveland, and Philadelphia, under former Attorney General Eric Holder and the current Attorney General Loretta Lynch. So I don't know. I should have did my research on that. I didn't, but that's what he did during that time. I'm not 100% familiar on that, and I apologize. Income inequality. Income inequality between black and white is at its widest point in 25 years. According to the study PEW in 2014, the average white household is worth $141,900, while the average black one is worth $11,000. So look, when the PEW, as I told you, when they were up above, but look, income inequality. My personal opinion on that is, I I don't think presidents can really do anything about that. I don't think they can change that, because that's just to me personally, that's a personal choice. When it comes to your income, how much money you make, what you're worth, that's a personal choice. I'm a believer in that. And people can say, well, black people don't get the chance, opportunity. Yeah, we do. we get the opportunity, we get the chances. But we choose to do other things with our money than what we should be doing. And I'm not going to blame that. I'm not going to put that on Barack. That's a personal thing. Because we don't put our money in places that's important. We like to buy material things, right? We're material people. We like to look good. We don't care about if we are rich. We just like to look it. If we can look rich, we good. We don't want to look like we don't have it. We don't want to wear the Walmart sneakers and the Walmart jeans and the Walmart shirts, so we can take them a couple of $100 and invest it in a stock. Because we don't even understand stocks, but we don't buy stocks. We don't buy blue chip art. We're not doing those type of things. We don't create businesses. We don't understand it. You know what I'm saying? We don't know it. So white people understand it. They make it a part of their culture a lot of times, and they save a lot. You ever notice, like, the white men walking around looking like regular, driving an old small car, or maybe an old car or old truck? But then you ever see them, I'm not saying do this, but maybe somebody, I don't know what kind of neighborhood you live in, but if you ever drive if you ever get a chance, go and drive in one of them rich neighborhoods that's around your way. No, the cops ain't gonna come stop you like you think. Ain't nobody gonna bother with you. Go just ride through there. Look at them big $500,000 above houses. Look at the cars they're driving. You would rarely see a Mercedes-Benz. You would rarely see anything that's very expensive in their driveway as far as their cars. They drive like Kia Sports. They driving like cheap cars, like $20,000, $30,000 cars is what they drive. But their house is worth $500,000 or more. Because they put their money in things that's important that build their wealth. They investing. They probably don't work no job that pay more than your job. They work with you at the job. It's just that when they take their money out, they're not buying material things. They're not buying clothes and jewelry and cars. They buy assets. That's the difference. See, when we do it, we don't buy that. And don't give me this thing, I live in poverty, I work at McDonald's. It don't matter where you work. Stocks don't take a lot of money to invest in. You don't need $5 and you invest in a stock. If you invest in a stock, take $5 and do it. If you continuously do it long enough, your wealth gonna come up. See, somebody gotta be the one who started for your family. And then you teach everybody else what it is. You're making a culture. And then they pass it on to the next generation. Make it important. Learn this stuff. We learn the rap songs and who the next criminal just got out of prison, prison stories. I watch it myself. I do it too. But I'm also doing other things too. I'm investing. I'm buying assets. I'm doing that too. But what I'm saying is you got to be doing both. You can't just be uplifting the gangster, the black gangster, because they did 30 years and then they're a legend, or what they did in the streets, now they're legendary. What about your life? You can't worry about the next rap song by Glorilla or Nicki Minaj and Megan Thee Stallion, or what's these rappers' names? Lil Durk. I don't know, man. I'm sorry, but look, we gotta start putting our money in place to count. I'm not blaming this on no president. No. This is a personal choice of your income inequality. Can't nobody just make your income be where you want it to be. And ain't no such thing as giving you something that you ain't earned. I don't believe in that. If you ain't earned it, you don't deserve it. You gotta get out here and work for it. And don't think somebody that worked their butt off to gain what they got gonna turn around and just hand it over to you. That's stupid. You wouldn't do it right now. So why should somebody else do it? The foreclosure crisis hit the hardest in 2007 and 2008. Disproportionately hurt black homeowners because they were targeted by banks for subprime loans. In 2008, the cities of Cleveland and Baltimore sued Wells Fargo over those practices. Listen. Okay, the banks took the hit. Barack bailed the banks out. That's what he did. He bailed the banks out. They screwed up. But so did those people. All those black people that went in there and took them loans, they screwed up. Because here was the thing. You gotta know what you can afford. They was giving out loans left and right to stimulate the economy, stimulate the housing market, is what they did. Yeah, presidents got something to do with that. But they was giving out loans to people who did not qualify. And those people were taking their opportunity to do it. They knew they didn't qualify. They knew they couldn't afford it. But they did it anyway. And then when they did it, it all came crashing down. The people couldn't pay back the money. The banks was going under because of it. They was giving out loans and giving out money that they could not afford to do. And the people who took them loans knew it, that they couldn't afford to take them loans. But they didn't stop. They took it anyway. And then they had to pay it all back. And they couldn't afford to pay for their mortgages and everything. They lost it. And the banks almost went under. You can't let the banks go under. You gotta keep the banks running. So they flooded all this money into the banks. The banks bounced back. The people lost. And then they said, oh, it ain't my fault. They did it to me. It was a subprime loan. So people went in there black people went in there with no research, no knowledge, no nothing. This is what we do. We just jump on stuff without knowing anything. Just taking the word of whoever, because Barack said so, we just do it. And look what happened. Got screwed over. And then they sued the banks. Well, it's okay, they can sue them. They got money to back it up because they bailed the banks out. But the people are screwed because once again, we do what we do all the time. Jump on the bandwagon. Know we can't afford it, but we want it so bad that we do it anyway. And then you're in a worse situation because you had to foreclose on a home that you did not qualify for in the first place. But if you don't give black people when they want it, they call you racist. And they don't qualify. Just like we do it now with the DEI, affirmative action, all those things. You don't qualify, but I'm going to give it to you just because you're black. They say we got to do it, so I'm going to give it to you. And you don't qualify. And then you wonder why you're failing. And wonder why you ain't doing well. But if you don't do it, you're going to be racist. As soon as you do something with black people, you racist. Or as soon as something go wrong that they did wrong, you will be the racist for it. Focus on black males. In February 2014, President Barack Obama introduced My Brother's Keeper to specifically focus on improving the lives of young African American males. The initiative is encouraging nonprofits to raise $200 million in 5 years for programs focused on young men of color. Though My Brother's Keeper is not a federally funded government program, no such effort existed before any American president. President Obama is said to be planning to make My Brother's Keeper a major part of leaves office. Major part when he leaves office. Well, if you know anything about My Brother's Keeper, I just read something on it. And I don't see how it's beneficial. I really never heard of it. It seemed like something that was done to just create an idea that he was trying to help. But I don't think it helped anything. All these programs they keep giving, they're not doing nothing but making black men, black people in a whole, just weak. It's not helping at all. Every time you create a program what you have just done is really create a slave. Because programs keep people in the same place they've always been. It does not move them out. Not, at least not these type of programs. Programs are supposed to create something, push you through, and get better. It got to be an end goal. It cannot continue to be the same thing over and over again, stretched out over a long period of time. It has to have an end goal. And none of the programs that they give to this community, the black community, have any end goal. It's continuous. The same people get it, and it's designed to keep you in it forever. It's supposed to get you in, get you right, get out. But the same people that get in don't never get out. They stay in it because it incentivizes them to stay at the bottom. That's what it's doing. That's what all these programs do that they give to black people. They keep you at the bottom. But then you get a president in that's really about to do something and give you opportunity to better yourself and make something of yourself and show what you're capable of. They want to go against it. We've been conditioned to like programs. We got 200 million programs, but ain't none of them seem to be working because we still at the bottom of everything. But a Republican president come in, everybody claim racism. Wouldn't it be racist that you ain't improved in 60 years? Maybe it's just me. Anything you don't agree with in this video, feel free to comment below. And I hope I met the standard of what was requested of me to make this video. I really do. But look, y'all take care, and I'll talk to y'all later.